All right, here we go. This is Arts of Wisdom. My name is Diane. Thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. I love all my new subscribers. Thank you for your comments, likes, shares, all those things. Keep doing it. And I appreciate any and all questions. So today we are going to look at a couple things. I spend, I've been in Arizona for 40 some years, and I'm not right now. I'm in Canada, spending the summer here. This is bothering me. I'm going to put the fan there. Get that there. Kari Lake ran for governor last year and lost to Katie Hobbs. And Katie Hobbs ran a terrible campaign, but Kari Lake still lost. Barely, but she did. And she is an election denier, and she loves Donald Trump. And she used to be on TV on Fox Channel, or the news channel in the morning, and or maybe it wasn't even in the morning. But anyway, I digress. She's running for state senator, or for senator. And so Reuben Gallego, he's the unopposed Democratic candidate, and the primaries are right now. And I think Kari Lake will easily get the Republican primary nomination. So I'm going to look into that election, Kari Lake versus Reuben Gallego in the Senate race in Arizona, which we need that because Kristen Sinema, who left, she was a Democrat, although she was very independent, and I didn't understand a lot of her voting. She's resigned. So I'm going to look into that. I'm also going to look into, will Trump actually debate Vice President Harris? He says I will. Or maybe I won't. I don't need to. Everybody knows me. Why should I do that? So I'm going to look into that. And then J.D. Vance from Ohio, his vice presidential candidate, has not been a good choice for him. And so I wanted to see if he would actually cancel him. I think he already was part of the nomination process or the delegates confirming process at the convention. So I don't know what that would look like if he decided to do that. And I also want to look at Harris versus Trump today. The polls are tightening up, and she sure has a lot of money. She sure has a lot of volunteers. And the convention, I think, is August 19th, which I think will be a good bump for her. And there's a lot of young people involved, which is great, and women. And Trump's people don't know what to do with this woman. He calls her dumb. It's the only thing he can come up with in her laugh. Anyway, so let's get started. I'm going to look into those things. I hope you guys are doing well. And let's get started. Kari Lake versus Reuben Gallego. My gut feeling, because Arizona is a red state, although it's been switching to blue in a couple categories. Mark Kelly won. He's the Democratic senator. And he's a wonderful person. He's married to Gabby Gifford. He's actually a VP candidate. And I did that other video about him. Kari Lake and Reuben versus Reuben Gallego. I think my first gut feeling is that she'd actually win. I think she might. I don't want her to, but I think she might win. She's kind of like a Marjorie Taylor Greene of Arizona, although she would be a state senator, not just a congresswoman from a tiny corner of Georgia. So Kari Lake, what does she win today? So a lot of things can happen. Free will is a huge thing. There's a universal energy, the world energy. Oh, okay. I had dinner, had a little break. My son called, which is always very nice. So I stopped, and then we had dinner, and now I'm back. Reuben Gallego and Kari Lake. As I sit in that energy, Kari Lake's is bam, it's super exciting, and she's all over the place, and I feel like she's a fireball. But in the election, as of right now, in Arizona, I feel like she'll win still. Okay, I'm going to pull some cards on her. Okay, that's what I needed to do. 8 of Wands, things moving quickly. The world, it's upside down. I don't normally pull cards upside down, but I have a few. Interesting. The world, the magician, and the moon. Okay. And I'm going to look at these because I think a Spirit's telling me that I need to see these upside down, which is really interesting because I never use reverse cards. But the world is having everything, and it's a really positive sign, but it's upside down. So I think she thinks she's going to have everything. She's moving really quick. She's trying to get through this, and she thinks she's got it. She has a lot of support. But the magician also is upside down. Having all the tools you need, thinking you have all the tools you need, trusting all the tools that you have, thinking, spirituality, communicating, physical, alchemy. It's upside down. So that tells me it's not what she thinks it is. And especially, look at this moon. I know this moon is about things being confusing, or it's, at night, things you don't see very well. But I look at this and I see this woman, her back is to us, like she's sad and she's over it. She's moving on. So my feeling is that she was going to win, but these cards say otherwise. So I'm going to pull some on Reuben Gallegos. Took a chance in Arizona. Reuben Gallegos. Six of Cups, Page of Pentacles, Judgment, Reuben Gallegos, the Chariot, King of Cups. Awesome. He's going to show people how things could be or used to be, the American ideal, which I talked about the other day, and that how we can have that again. Instead of the world is ending in chaos and carnage. Page of Pentacles, getting information, I feel like this little girl, she's getting information from a lot of different sources, and he's getting help from the Democratic National Party. And there's Judgment, which I perceive as the decision, the election, Chariot moving very quickly, although she's got a snail, but I see that as things moving forward for him. And then the King of Cups, which is, I feel like this is a meaningful card. It's a male energy, mature water sign, like, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. But I don't know if he's any of those. But I see this person as strong and forthright, and they're just focusing on the job at hand, and they're emotional, but they're, like a explorer would be. I know there's a hard road ahead, but I'm going to do what I can. So according to these cards, Mr. Gallegos, I'm happy to say that it looks like he's going to make it and do better than I expected. So actually, I think he might actually win. So there you go, as of today, July 30th. So we'll see. Well, free will is a really flexible thing. And like in Joe Biden's case, he was destined to get to the election, but in a different form than he got there as president, and then he's moving on. But he'll be there for Kamala. He'll be there for her, and he's going to set the stage for her presidency. And he's going to give her the tools and people, and she'll carry that legacy over the finish line with his heart. And we'll have his heart too. I think he's like Franklin Delano Roosevelt of the present day. Honestly, I feel like that's his energy. Okay. Will Trump debate Harris? I don't think he will. I think he wants to maybe, but his people say no. In the past, I saw debate between Biden and Trump, only one, if anything, because they were saying there would be two, and I only saw one, and I didn't think it would be till September, but it ended up being in June. But there is only one that they had. I don't think Trump will debate Harris. I think his people are freaking out already, and I don't think so. Unless something really big changes and he says, hey, wait, I'm not that scared of you. You're not the boss of me. I don't think he'll debate her. It'll be too much of a contrast, and we'll see him as making up stories and lying and being the elderly one instead of the young, vital one. So I don't think they'll have a debate. All right. Will he get rid of his new vice president? You know, in the past I saw J.D. Vance as that gray blob behind him, and he hadn't taken form yet, and he's just sort of there. Slightly more form, but I don't think Trump's decided yet if he's going to get rid of him. I think he's still thinking he might give him some more time. Because Vance doesn't back down, even though he said stupid things about women or mothers or women with cats who don't have children who can't vote. If you guys have a chance, Chelsea Handler has this lovely, it's like really funny. It's like a minute and 20 seconds of her going off on the crazy cat lady thing. It's very funny. I see him as a line, like, okay, Trump is here, and I see Vance is behind him, and there's a barrier, but it's a white barrier, like a parking lot barrier, you know? So, and he was behind him before in that other image. He's not next to him. So because he wasn't there, it was behind him, and he hasn't really formed into anything. I don't see, he's still waiting. Let me pull some cards on it, but I think Trump is waiting to decide. I don't think he's going to make any changes at the moment, but there's people. So I think he is giving him some time, but I already think he's vetting other vice president candidates. I think he is. I think he's coming up with another secondary person. Trump. Okay, let's see. Let me do this real quick. Shuffle these. Will Trump pick another? Let's just look at J.D. Vance's future with Trump. J.D. Vance's future. Still see him as cloudy. Isn't that funny? Aha, funny or weird funny. The Emperor, Hanged Man. There we go. We're waiting. Here's our Emperor. That's the orange menace. Hanged Man. I'm waiting, looking at things from a different perspective. J.D. Vance's future. Page of Cups. He's dreaming. I think he's very romanticizing this situation. Trump or Vance. And the moon. That moon in the other card was him walking away, but I think he's looking at the moon going, why? Why not? Why not me? An 8 of Wands. Will he get kicked out of the club? According to this, no, not yet. According to this, look at these 3 ladies. They're like, this is our club. I don't think you belong in this club. We only have room in here for this one hoop, only holds room for us. And here's another woman card. So maybe there's a woman that's going to give him advice. Yep. He's not willing to get rid of J.D. Vance right now. But sure is thinking about it. And he's weighing his choices. And I know Trump doesn't like to back down at all. So I don't think people want to, I think he doesn't want people to think he's that like, he'll make up an excuse, but I don't think they want him to, he doesn't want people to think he's that like, wishy-washy or confused, because he's not. And he never backs down. So I don't think he's going to change. Not right now. But again, free will is everything. Okay. Harris versus Trump. So the big question, who's going to win in the fall? right now. And the polls are, the space between candidates is slimming down. I do have a sense that her candidacy or her campaign is going to go into a little bit of a slump. I think it doesn't look like it right now, but I do think something is going to happen where there's going to be a dip in her campaign or the energy. I don't know what it is. Why that would be. Maybe maybe the Republicans come up with a strategy to really, find a good argument against her. Gosh, I almost see like she's. Oh, I hate to. It almost seems like she's hitting a wall. It's not like right now, but I do feel like that's a possibility. Um, August is going to be very glowy and good for her. I feel that energy's super high, super good. Something happens. Let's see. And I think Trump is going to have a big dip for himself in September, October. I've seen this before. I think that has to do with his court cases. And I think Jack Smith has got something that's going to trip him up. It's going to, that deep right before the election. I just feel like she will win. And it won't be as close as people say eventually. But I do think she's going to hit a little bit of a wall here. There's going to be a slump. Eventually she's going to win. And I do feel like we're going to take the Senate and the Congress and the House. But I do feel like she is not going to continue with this momentum, unfortunately. I'm going to stay there because it's super exciting. It's going to continue, and then we'll have August will be a giant ball of light and divine energy and people excited. And then September, a little dip. But then Trump has this really deep dip. A lot of bad things happen with him. And then, Trump. A lot of bad things. He looks like he's going to have to deal with court stuff. Okay. And then, so, I'm going to pull some cards. Will Kamala Harris. Yes, she'll beat him. I don't even have to pull cards for that. She'll beat him. But there's going to be a lot of interesting things before now in the election. Between his court things, some dip that she's going to have. Maybe it'll just be because the excitement will wear off and people will just be like, all right, been there, done that. But we'll be ready. I do feel people are super excited. I think post-election, there's going to be some trouble. And like I had said that before, not as much as there used to be, which is fascinating because back when Joe Biden was going to be the candidate, I felt like there was going to be darkness after the election, before January. I don't feel like that anymore. That's so fascinating. So maybe she wins by a greater margin, so there's not as many complaints or calls for, recounts and that sort of thing. There will be some protests and people won't believe it. A lot of people won't, but by then Trump will be either in jail or going back to court, and they'll need a new leader. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for coming by. I think we're all going to get through this. I'm feeling really positive, though. Very positive. And the American ideal, the idea of America, or doing, we're all for one and one for all, together instead of so divisive, it's coming back. It is coming back. It's not tomorrow, but it is going to be back. I promise. Okay. All right. Till next time.